Imagine this. It's a cold December day, right before Christmas, and suddenly two parents just vanish without a trace.
Yeah, it's a really baffling one. We're talking about the 1995 disappearance of John and Shelley Markley from Bristol, Ohio.
And we've waded through a ton of material for this. Deep dive, family accounts, police reports, well, the lack thereof sometimes, bank records, even some recent audio recordings.
We really have. Our goal here is to pull out the most crucial bits, highlight the really surprising stuff, and help you understand why this case, almost 30 years later, is still cold. Just so many questions left.
More questions than answers, definitely.
So we'll get into the day their daughter Ruth found the house empty, these really strange clues left behind, the conflicting evidence that honestly kind of muddied the early investigation.
And that bizarre ransom plot. We have to talk about that.
Oh, absolutely. And then all the different theories that have sprung up over the years, which have sadly really divided the family.
Okay, let's start our deep dive. December 15th, 1995, cold Friday, Bristol, Ohio. 15-year-old Ruth Markley gets off her school bus. It's just after 3 p.m.
Right. And she's expecting her parents, John and Shelley, to be home. I mean, especially because John's twin sister had just passed away 2 days before.
Yeah, the funeral service was that night.
Exactly. But Ruth walks in, and the house is just quiet, empty.
And this isn't normal for them, right?
Not at all. Ruth said later the family had this rule. If John and Shelley were going to be even 15 minutes late, they'd call John's sister to come wait with the kids.
Okay.
But that day, nothing. The front door's unlocked, John's truck, gone. And Shelley's purse, her cigarettes, her lighter just sitting right there on the counter.
And Ruth said that last part was a huge deal.
A massive red flag. Her mom smoked like a pack a day. She was never without her cigarettes, never.
So Ruth checks their bedroom.
Yeah, and she finds their funeral clothes laid out on the bed, ready to go. But then she sees something else. John's gun cabinet. It's unlocked and standing open.
Which she'd never seen before.
Never. That must have been incredibly unnerving for a 15-year-old.
So she calls her aunt.
Right away, John's sister. The aunt tries to kind of, calm her down. Says maybe they went to the mall. John needed a new suit, apparently.
Okay, trying to rationalize it.
Yeah. Tells Ruth, just close the gun cabinet, close the bedroom door, call me back if they're not home soon.
So Ruth waits. Her siblings come home.
Right. She cleans, she cooks, trying to keep busy, I guess. But hours are ticking by. No John, no Shelley.
And the funeral service is looming. 5:30 p.m.
They have to leave. They go to the service. It starts, it ends. Still no sign of John and Shelley.
What did the family think at this point?
Well, initially they tried to make excuses. John was just devastated about his twin sister. I mean, really broken up.
Understandable.
So they thought maybe saying goodbye was just too hard. Maybe they just needed some time, went somewhere quiet to, clear their heads.
So the whole family goes back to the Markley house afterwards.
Yeah, they all gather there, waiting, hoping.
But midnight comes and goes.
And they're still not back. These are parents who are always there for their kids, dedicated. The excuses just don't hold up anymore.
So finally, the aunt calls the police.
Yep, around 12:30 a.m., reports them missing.
And the police response.
Pretty quick, actually. They arrive about 10 minutes later, 12:40 a.m., start taking statements.
Okay, what do they learn about the couple?
Well, the basics. John's a long-haul trucker, owns his own company, has employees. Shelley's a stay-at-home mom, married 16 years.
Solid couple.
Seemed like it. No criminal records, house paid off. Actually, Shelley's dad even worked for John. They had arguments, sure, but nothing, major or salacious, as one source put it. Normal stuff.
But the family did mention John had some issues with the business.
They did. Said he'd made some enemies, yeah. Mostly over money stuff, disputes with employees. He stood up for himself. But the family didn't think any of it was serious enough, worth hurting him and Shelley over.
Anything else stand out early on?
Well, there's this detail about their previous house. The original structure actually burned down back in '93.
Arson.
It wasn't investigated as a crime back then, but it's, a detail. Also, John's trucking route, Ohio to Florida, it's apparently a known drug trafficking corridor.
Did the police look into that?
John's sister brought it up as a possibility, but the family, overall, really didn't think John or Shelley were involved in drugs at all. Not users, not traffickers.
Any official record?
Nothing. No court records, no reports linking them. And honestly, it's hard to know how thoroughly police checked it out. We tried a FOIA request to the Trumbull County Sheriff's Office, denied. They cited active updates on the case, so who knows if that drug angle was ever really put to bed.
Interesting. What about Ruth's perspective on that specific day, December 15th?
She mentioned her mom, Shelley, was weirdly strict that morning about the kids going to school. One of the younger ones tried faking sick, and Shelley was like, nope, today is not the day.
Did Ruth think that was strange, like a sign something was wrong?
Not really. Ruth said it just seemed like a normal, busy day, not like, impending doom or anything.
Okay, so back to the house search. Police are there now. What do they find?
They confirm the new suit is laid out in the bedroom, but they don't know if it was bought that day or the day before or if that mall trip even happened.
And the gun cabinet.
Definitely open. Ruth thought 2 guns might be missing, a handgun and a rifle. But Ohio didn't have statewide gun registration back then, still doesn't, so confirming exactly what was missing was tough.
What about valuables?
There was a small safe, usually kept in the closet. It was found open on the bathroom counter. Important papers, marriage license, birth certificates kind of scattered around.
Any money?
John's sister said he usually kept cash in there, maybe around $2,400. But nope, no cash was found.
And Ruth pointed out the purse and cigarettes again.
Yes. And here's where things get messy for the investigation. Remember those coffee mugs Ruth found earlier?
The ones the kids cleaned.
Exactly. The kids were just trying to be helpful, but they wiped away potential fingerprints. And the house had family members in and out for hours before the police secured it.
So the scene was contaminated.
Badly. Any potential crime scene evidence inside the house was likely compromised pretty early on.
Okay, what about outside the house? Anything else missing?
Yeah, a couple of things. The tarps that usually covered John's prized apple red Corvette in the garage, gone. He was apparently really meticulous about his cars.
And the truck, obviously.
Right, his truck was missing. But they put out an APB on it, a 1990 red Chevy Silverado, and got a hit almost immediately.
Wow, okay. Where?
Around 5 a.m., so just a few hours after they were reported missing, an officer found it. Parked in a restaurant parking lot about 20 minutes away from the Markley house. Doors locked. Nothing looked obviously weird from the outside.
But inside?
Inside, no keys. But they found Shelley's cell phone. Now, here's where accounts differ. A family advocate claims police also found used cigarette butts, unknown brand, and maybe other physical evidence. But a former sheriff, Tom O'Lear, he told investigators years later that there was no physical evidence found in the truck, no fingerprints, nothing.
So, confusion. Did they find evidence or not? Did they even process it properly?
Exactly. It's unclear. Maybe police are holding something back, playing their cards close. Or maybe memories are just fuzzy years later. What's really wild, though, is that some of the Markley family actually got to the truck scene right after the police did.
How?
Turns out a niece had actually seen the truck parked somewhere else earlier that day. Once John and Shelley were officially missing, she told the family, and they went looking.
And the police let them near the truck?
According to some accounts, they wildly let one family member inside the truck before it was processed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The family isn't even sure if the police ever dusted for prints there at the scene.
That's not good.
It's really not. Looking back at those first crucial hours, you just see potential evidence slipping away, either destroyed, like the coffee cups, or maybe never collected properly, like at the truck scene.
It feels like the investigation was hampered from the very start.
Absolutely. It highlights a key thing in cold cases. A botched initial investigation can almost predetermine the outcome. It sets you on a path that's hard to recover from.
So, with the house and truck scenes being so problematic,
yeah,
what could the police piece together? Did that niece's sighting lead anywhere?
Well, it added another layer of strangeness. She saw John's truck earlier that day, not at the restaurant lot, but at a Walmart right across the street.
Okay.
And she said it was covered in dirt, like really, really muddy, which was super unusual for John. He kept his car spotless.
Did she interact with it?
Yeah, thinking maybe John and Shelley were inside shopping, she actually wrote, "Hi, Uncle John," in the mud on the back tailgate.
Okay.
But when she came out of Walmart later, the truck was gone. Presumably moved across the street to that restaurant lot where the police found it.
Why move it?
John's brother-in-law has a theory about that. He thinks whoever was driving the truck saw that message in the mud, got spooked, and moved it immediately. He believes that person was involved in the disappearance.
Makes sense. Did police check surveillance?
They tried. Walmart's footage, already recorded over, a nearby restaurant, and a hardware store. Their cameras were off that day, just were dead ends. Frustrating.
Okay, so the truck is kind of a dead end for now. What about money? Did they look into their finances?
They did. And things get interesting there, too. On December 14th, the day before they vanished, John and Shelley took out a loan.
Another loan.
Yeah, this one for a bit over $1,600. And it wasn't from their usual bank, but one of those consumer lending companies.
What was the collateral?
A lot of stuff. Furniture, 3 of John's shotguns, a lawnmower, TV. Seemed like they needed cash.
Why? Were they in serious debt?
It's complicated. Just 2.5 months before that, John had taken out a smaller loan from the same place, apparently for new tires for his semi-truck. He was also recovering from a back injury, which made working tough.
Some money might have been tight.
Possibly. But sources say they seemed to be keeping up with his medical payments, paying credit cards on time. John had even recently sold their above-ground pool to help pay for his twin sister's alternative medical treatments before she passed. So, no huge eye-popping debts were found.
But this second loan, the $1,600 one, what was that for?
That's the mystery. No big deposit showed up in their checking account after they got it.
And then something happened on the day they disappeared, right? December 15th.
Yes. At 10:36 in the morning, a $1,000 check was cashed from their checking account. That left about $1,800 in there.
Who cashed it?
The check was made out to self, so it had to be either John or Shelley. But here's the weird part. It was cashed at a bank branch 10 minutes away from their house.
Not their usual branch?
Nope, their usual one was only 3 minutes away. Why go to the farther one?
Good question. Did the police talk to the teller?
They did, and the teller knew John because she apparently worked shifts at both branches. She gave them the last known sighting of John and Shelley.
What did she see?
She said John drove up to the drive-thru window in his pickup truck. Shelley was the one who signed the check, then handed it to John to put in that pneumatic tube carrier thing.
Okay.
But the teller distinctly remembered Shelley wasn't alone in the middle. She was sitting between John, who was driving, and another person on the passenger side.
Another person.
Described only as a slim man with dark hair. And John acted weird.
How so?
Usually he was friendly, chatty, but this time he just stared straight ahead when she handed him the cash through the drawer. Didn't say goodbye, didn't make eye contact, just off.
Wow. Any security footage?
They checked, but the bank's cameras back then weren't clear enough to identify this mystery passenger. Frustratingly close.
So that's it. The last time anyone saw them alive.
As far as we know, yes. In that truck, at that bank drive-thru, with a mystery man acting strangely, and the checkbook they used, still missing. John's wallet, also still missing. Where the truck went immediately after that, nobody knows for sure.
That image of them at the bank.
Yeah.
It's chilling. Especially with the mystery man.
It really is. And it leads right into a theory developed by John's own brother.
What did he think?
Well, he found out that John's brother-in-law, the husband of John's late twin sister, actually saw John's pickup truck pass his house shortly after that bank transaction.
Where does his brother-in-law live?
Near a specific dirt road. And that immediately made John's brother think of the truck. Remember how muddy it was when the niece saw it?
Right, the mud.
So John's brother drives out to this dirt road himself. It's about 20 minutes from where the truck was eventually found. And he looks at the mud there. He becomes convinced it's a match.
A match to the mud on the truck.
That's what he believed. And this dirt road, it runs near a pretty remote wildlife reserve, which, raises some grim possibilities about disposal.
Did the police check out this dirt road area?
The family felt they weren't doing enough. They got really frustrated, felt like maybe the police didn't see, blue-collar parents as important enough to launch a massive search.
So the family took matters into their own hands.
They did. They started organizing their own searches, combing that dirt road area, checking local lakes, forests, parks, just looking anywhere they could think of.
Find anything.
No. Despite all their efforts, nothing turned up. Christmas came, went. Still no sign of John or Shelley. The waiting must have been agonizing.
Unimaginable. And just when things seemed quiet, the case took another bizarre turn, didn't it, with those phone calls?
Oh, yeah. Things got really strange after Christmas. It's December 26th, the day after Christmas, about 8 in the morning. Gene, that's John's brother-in-law, who was staying at the Markley house with his family.
Right, helping out.
He answers the phone. And there's this guy on the other end, voice kind of muffled, raspy, asks for Ruth first, then asks for John's sister. Gene just hangs up. Weird call. Then 3 days later, December 29th, same time, around 8 a.m. Another call, same guy. This time he says, John and Shelley are alive.
What? Where?
He claims they're being held in Toronto, Canada, but he can bring them home for $10,000.
A ransom demand.
Exactly. Gene doesn't mess around. He hangs up, immediately calls 911. Police get involved, arrange to get a recording device hooked up to the phone line.
Smart move. Did the caller try again?
Almost instantly. Gene barely gets off the phone with the police and the phone rings again. Twice.
What did the caller say this time?
First call. He tells Gene to sell John's Corvette, that prized car, to get the money, or else John and Shelley will be moved and he can't guarantee their safety.
Escalating threats.
Totally. And the second call right after that, even weirder. He says that on New Year's Eve, John and Shelley are going to be sacrificed by a cult.
A cult? Where did that come from?
First mention of it. It just throws this whole other bizarre element into the mix. Ransom, threats, now a cult sacrifice. It's incredibly strange. I mean, ransom plots are usually about money, not ritual sacrifice.
It's almost designed to confuse and terrify.
It really feels that way. Maybe deliberate disinformation, or maybe the caller was just unhinged. On December 30th, he calls again. Gene decides to bluff, tells the guy he has the money, the cash, not the Corvette title. The caller says, okay, that works.
So the plan is moving forward. What happens on New Year's Eve?
Police have the recorder running now. The man calls again, asks Gene, got the money? Gene says yes.
And we actually have a transcript of part of that call, right? Let's hear the instructions.
Yeah, this is the caller talking to Gene.
Hello. You have 1 hour to make it to Rallies in front of the Eastwood Mall. In the coin return, there will be a note. You will follow that note to a T. If I see anyone following you, or see any law, or if there's anything else, the deal will be done, and that's it. Because at 8 tonight, it's all over.
Then Gene asks, well, what about John and Shell?
And the caller says, they will be inaudible, maybe released, within an hour after you start this. I'm going to run you around a little bit, make sure you ain't being followed. After that, you will have them. I got them away from the people last night. They're in an abandoned house not far from you. Follow me to the T. You will have no problems. In the coin return, there's a note. Follow the note to the T. You will have exactly 1 minute from the time you pick up the note to as you read it to the time you make the first point. After that, you'll have 2 minutes to the next point, and you will follow it to a T. Inaudible word. This is your last chance. You understand.
The voice was muffled, like maybe talking through cloth, but no electronic voice changer. Gene didn't recognize it. Another family member thought it might be a former employee of John's, but turns out that guy was laid up in the hospital.
Did they trace the call?
They did. It came from a payphone in a town about half an hour away from the Markley house.
Okay, so Eastwood Mall, Rally's coin return. A note. This sounds like something out of a movie.
It really does. Police gear up for a sting operation. They team up with Gene, but they decide an undercover officer should actually retrieve the note, not Gene, just to make it look legit.
Makes sense. What did the note say?
It was written on plain old ruled notebook paper, block letters, some misspellings apparently. It gave the next instructions.
Which were?
Basically, go to the Kaufman's department store entrance near the main mall entrance, park right by the sidewalk, go inside, turn left, find the display of sweatshirts with a penguin on them.
That was a local university mascot, by the way.
Put the package, the ransom money, between the shirts and leave through the same door. Then drive to the back entrance of J.C. Penney. Go to the payphone next to the restrooms there. Wait 15 minutes. If no police are seen, a boy will give you another note with the address where John and Shelley are. If anything looks wrong, if you see cops, go back and get the package. The deal is off.
Wow, specific instructions. So what happened at the mall?
Gene goes in. He's got a brown bag, but it's filled with dish rags, not $10,000. He puts it in the penguin's sweatshirt display, just like the note said. Police are staked out, watching.
Does anyone take the bait?
A few people walk by, look at the bag, including, notably, a teenage girl, but nobody picks it up. Time passes. Police tell Gene, okay, go get the bag, try putting it back again. He does. Still nothing. Nobody takes it.
The plan isn't working.
Nope. Then Gene's wife gets another call. It's the ransom guy again. And he is not happy. He's pissed, says he knows Gene brought the police.
Oh boy. Deal's off.
Surprisingly, no. He says he'll give them one more chance. But the drop location changes. He tells them to leave the bag in the bathroom of a nearby gas station.
Okay, second chance. Police set up surveillance again?
Yeah, they coordinate, try to keep their distance, but still watch. Gene drives to the gas station, goes into the bathroom, leaves the bag with the rags, comes out, and drives away as instructed.
Yeah, them.
Minutes later, a white car pulls up to the gas station, 2 people inside. The passenger gets out, hood pulled way up over their head, goes into the bathroom, comes back out pretty quickly, empty-handed, and the hood is down now.
Who was it?
It's a young woman, very obviously pregnant, And police realize it's the same teenage girl who was looking at the bag back at the mall near the Penguin sweatshirts.
No way. And the driver.
Police recognize the driver, too. He was with the girl at the mall just like less than half an hour earlier. They move in, surround the car.
And they arrest.
They arrest 45-year-old Stephen Durst and his 18-year-old daughter, Deanna Durst.
Stephen Durst. Does that name ring a bell from earlier?
It does. Stephen Durst was one of John Markley's former employees at the trucking company.
Ah, okay. What was their history?
It was complicated. Stephen and two of his younger kids actually lives with John and Shelley for several months, from late 93 to mid-94.
Lived with them. Why?
Stephen was going through divorce, apparently trying to avoid losing custody of his kids, so the Markleys took them in for a while. But it ended badly.
How so?
He was apparently kicked out and fired after some kind of money dispute. John suspected Stephen was maybe selling company fuel on the side and withheld his last paycheck.
Did Stephen agree with that?
Nope. Stephen denied stealing fuel, claimed he left on his own terms. But after leaving, he apparently came back to the Markley house multiple times asking for his job back or for the money he felt he was owed.
No sense.
Very. John's sister even recalled one argument that got heated, spilled out into the garage, where Stephen allegedly threatened to hit John with a 2x4.
Yikes. Okay, so police arrest Stephen and Deanna for the ransom attempt.
Right. They charge Stephen Durst with extortion. They figure they've got him. Clear motive, disgruntled former employee, money dispute.
What about the daughter, Deanna?
Deanna claimed she had no idea about the extortion plan. Said her dad just told her what to do, where to go, and she did it. The police seemed to buy her story, or at least decided to focus on Stephen. They released her.
So all eyes are on Stephen Durst.
Pretty much. On January 3rd, 1996, just days after the arrest, Stephen pleads innocent to the extortion charge. He gets released on bond, but he agrees to take a polygraph test regarding the disappearance.
What was his story about being at the mall and the gas station?
His explanation was, well, a convenient. He claimed he always took Deanna to the mall on weekends, and that day, after the mall, she just happened to really need to use the bathroom, so they stopped at that specific gas station. Just a big, weird coincidence, he said.
Right. How did the polygraph go?
Not well for Stephen. They asked him 4 key questions related to the Markleys' disappearance.
Let's hear them.
Question 1. Were you involved in John and Shelley Markley's disappearance in any way? His answer, nope. The polygraph indicated deception.
Okay.
Question 2. Did you see John and Shelley Markley after they were reported missing? Answer, nope. Indicated deception.
Uh-oh.
Question 3. Do you know where John and Shelley are now? Answer, no. Indicated deception.
3 for 3.
And question 4. Did you know in advance that John and Shelley Markley had disappeared? Answer, no. Again, indicated deception.
Wow. He failed every question.
Failed miserably, according to the reports. Clear signs of deception on all 4 critical questions, linking him potentially to the disappearance itself, not just the extortion.
So they charged him with abduction then, right? Time failed polygraph, motive, the bank teller saw a mystery man.
That's the frustrating part. No, the polygraph results, while highly suspicious, weren't admissible in court as direct evidence. They're investigative tools. Without more concrete evidence, physical evidence, a confession, a direct witness linking him to the abduction itself, they didn't feel they had enough to charge him beyond the extortion.
That must have been incredibly frustrating for the investigators and the family.
Immensely. They had a prime suspect, strong suspicions, but couldn't bridge that gap legally for the more serious charge. So the extortion charge proceeded.
What happened with the extortion case?
By the time his trial came around in August 1996, still no new solid evidence had emerged connecting him directly to the Markleys' vanishing. He was convicted only on the extortion charge.
What was his sentence?
He got 4 to 10 years in prison for the extortion.
Did he serve the full time?
He served 4 years and was released. He's a free man today. And he still maintains his innocence, not just in the disappearance, but in the extortion, too. Claims he was just in the wrong places at the wrong time.
And what about that recent audio clip you mentioned earlier?
Right. This anonymous source sent it in. It's allegedly Stephen talking.
Wow.
He seems to admit to an extortion attempt, saying something like, he got 10 years for threatening some couple over $10,000 they owed him. But he doesn't name the Markleys or mention a ransom plot specifically in that part.
But when asked about the Markleys...
When asked directly if it involved the Markleys, the voice on the tape says, that's part of it, but then immediately pivots to saying the police framed him for everything. So it's suggestive, but not a clear confession to anything beyond what he was convicted of.
Does Stephen Durst have any other criminal history?
Besides traffic stuff, yeah. Before the Markley disappearance, he had faced 3 fairly serious charges. Rape, which was dismissed, but also disorderly conduct and resisting arrest. And much more recently, in 2019, there was a domestic violence charge against him.
It paints a picture. But still, those nagging questions linger from the investigation.
Huge ones like, why did the police apparently never show Stephen Durst's photo to that bank teller who saw the mystery man in the truck? That seems like a critical step missed.
Definitely. And what happened with the teller?
Well, it gets complicated. Apparently, one of the Markley brothers-in-law went to see the teller himself at some point. The implication was maybe he pressured her, suggested she knew more than she was saying. Whatever happened, it reportedly scared her badly enough that she moved out of state and stopped cooperating with the police altogether.
Another dead end, potentially caused by interference, and Deanna, the daughter.
Deanna was definitely there, at the mall, at the gas station. But after her initial release, police apparently never successfully got more information from her over the years. She passed away in 2022, so whatever she knew or suspected largely died with her unless she told someone else.
It's incredible how the case splinters from here. With the prime suspect convicted only of extortion, the family starts looking elsewhere, even at each other.
It really fractured the family, sadly. The lack of answers, the suspicion, it took a heavy toll. You see this starkly in a letter Shelley's own mother wrote to Stephen Durst while he was in prison in 1998.
What did she say?
She told Stephen she believed he was innocent of the disappearance, that she thought he was being made someone's scapegoat. And then she wrote, quite bluntly, I do not trust the Markleys at all and feel they are behind this whole mess.
Wow. Blaming John's side of the family.
Yeah. Former Sheriff Lear confirmed he looked into various theories involving family, but nothing concrete emerged while he was sheriff. Shelley's mom also claimed that after the disappearance, the Markley family kept her side from seeing the kids. The grief and uncertainty just turned them against each other.
And this led to some Markleys developing their own theory about Shelley, didn't it?
It did. Some members of John's family started floating the idea that maybe Shelley ran away. John's brother claimed Shelley had actually confessed to him shortly before they vanished that she wasn't happy, that she wanted to leave John.
Why would she leave the kids, though?
That was the big counterargument. But John's sister suggested maybe Shelley's mother had inadvertently discouraged her. Apparently, the mom warned Shelley that John had enough money to fight her for custody until she had nothing left.
So some Markleys wondered if Shelley maybe even worked with Stephen Durst.
That was one extreme version of the theory. Maybe she conspired with Stephen to get rid of John somehow, take some money, and start a new life.
Where would she have gone?
Pure speculation fueled this. John's brother-in-law thought it was strange that Shelley's father took a trip down to Florida right after the disappearance. Another brother visited Shelley's brother in Las Vegas in '99, found his condo spotless, and got suspicious because the brother took like 15 minutes to answer the door. He thought maybe he was hiding Shelley there.
What did Shelley's brothers say about that?
He remembers the visit, calls the theory ridiculous, says basically, yeah, I can keep a one-bedroom apartment clean. Most of the Markley family seems to have abandoned this theory over time. Everyone agrees Shelley was a devoted mother. The idea she'd vanish and have zero contact with her kids for 30 years just doesn't sit right.
Okay, so if Shelley didn't run away, what other theories are out there? Shelley's brother had a very different and very complex idea, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This one is intricate. It goes way back into their family history, long before John and Shelley even met.
Lay it out for us.
Okay, buckle up. According to Shelley's brother, back when Shelley and he were kids, their mother had an affair. The affair was with her aunt's father-in-law, so the father of her aunt's husband. Not a blood relative, but messy family dynamics.
Okay.
Then, in November 1977, this man, the affair partner, was found dead. Shotgun blast to the head, in his car, left on some railroad tracks, and Shelley's father was convicted of that murder. Their mom divorced him while he was serving time in prison.
But Shelley's brother doesn't think his dad did it.
No. He believes his father was framed. He claims the affair guy's own son, the husband of the aunt, was the real killer. Motive: to protect his inheritance from his dad, who might have left things to the affair partner, Shelley's mom.
How does he support this?
He points to a supposed drunken confession years later. He says the grandson of the affair guy, so the alleged killer's son, admitted to Shelley's brother that he heard fireworks in their garage that night in '77, went to look and saw his grandfather's body wrapped in a tarp. He claimed his dad, the affair guy's son, did it and framed Shelley's dad.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Any proof?
He also claims that years later, Shelley's mom found court records related to the 77 murder that seemed tampered with mentions of the affair guy's son suspiciously removed.
Okay, so how does this connect to John and Shelley's disappearance in 1995?
Here's the leap. Shelley's brother believes their mom eventually shared this whole wrongful conviction theory with Shelley. And maybe John overheard, or Shelley told him. He thinks John, who he described as someone who would do anything to get ahead financially, saw an opportunity.
An opportunity for what?
Extortion. He theorizes that John convinced Shelley, who he said kind of went along with anything he asked, to try and extort money from the man they believed was the real killer from 1977, the affair guy's son, using this decades-old secret as leverage.
So they weren't being extorted, they were the extortionists, and it went wrong.
That's the theory. And Shelley's brother ties it back to other things, like that unexplained house fire in '93, maybe it was arson, for insurance money. He also alleges, though it's unverified, that bank records once showed a $30,000 withdrawal from an uncle's account that somehow benefited John.
Which raises the question again. If they maybe had insurance money, or this alleged $30,000, why the small, high-interest loans right before they disappeared?
Exactly. Maybe the big money, if it ever existed, ran out. And according to this theory, they decided to try extortion again, targeting this old family secret, and it backfired fatally.
It's a complicated theory and relies on a lot of hearsay and alleged events from decades ago.
Extremely. And many of the key players in that specific narrative, the uncle, the cousin who allegedly confessed drunk, Shelley's parents, they're all deceased now, makes it almost impossible to verify.
It's staggering. We have Stephen Durst, the failed polygraph, the ransom plot. We have theories about Shelley running away. We have this complex family history extortion theory. Decades later, where does that leave the actual search for them?
Well, legally, John and Shelley were declared dead back on April 28, 1999. But the search, in a way, never completely stopped. Tips still trickle in sporadically.
Any significant ones in recent years?
There were a couple of potentially big ones passed to the FBI around 2005-2006. In April 2005, a source, described as reliable, claimed John and Shelley were buried in a specific wildlife area.
Wait, the same area near that dirt road John's brother checked out early on?
The very same one. Then, in October 2006, a source, maybe the same one, the documents are redacted, gave even more specific details about a possible burial location there.
Did they search?
They did. The FBI brought in cadaver dogs, scoured the area described. Both dogs actually showed a strong reaction, like they were onto something, near one particular spot. But they didn't give the final alert signal for human remains. So, close, maybe, but no definitive discovery.
Any idea who this reliable source might have been?
The family advocate we mentioned, their guess is it could have been Deanna Durst, Stephen's daughter. Police apparently spoke to the source multiple times over that period.
And there was more involving Deanna later, wasn't there? Around 2015.
Yes. Another source came forward sharing screenshots of a conversation they had with a relative of Deanna's back in 2015. In this alleged conversation, Deanna was having a crisis of conscience.
What did she say?
She supposedly admitted that while she initially just did what her dad told her during the ransom stuff, she realized afterwards that he must have done something really bad. Something he had planned, something he had premeditated.
Meaning the disappearance.
That was the strong implication. She said she was scared for her own life, her child's life, so she kept quiet for years. But she allegedly claimed she was the one who made that 2005 tip call, believing John and Shelley were buried in some woods behind a cemetery, possibly relating to that wildlife area.
Was this reported to police?
Yes, the source reported it in 2015, which apparently led to some renewed public interest and updates in the case around that time. And former Sheriff Lear did confirm that Deanna had come forward to police a few times over the years with information pointing towards her father's involvement.
But she always backed off.
Yeah, he described it as her always ending up ghosting or backtracking. Maybe fear, maybe something else. We don't know.
So Deanna potentially held key information but could never fully commit to revealing it. What about other leads? That rental property dig.
Right, that involved John's sister and her husband. Back in 2006, police got a tip about their rental property. A neighbor reported seeing the husband doing some digging around the property near the time John and Shelley vanished. Police went out, dug around the septic tank area, found nothing.
But they went back recently.
Yeah, just this year, 2024. Got permission to go back, this time to actually look inside the septic tank itself. Still, nothing found.
Was this brother-in-law ever considered a suspect?
Former Sheriff Alier mentioned that various names came up over the years, people they worked to eliminate. Family members acknowledged there were feuds, not just minor disputes, between John and this particular brother-in-law, mostly over land issues. But they generally don't believe he was involved in the disappearance.
What does the brother-in-law say?
He has strongly denied any involvement, swore he didn't kill John. Interestingly, he claims an officer told him something intriguing. That a few years after the disappearance, a member of Stephen Durst's family came forward.
Saying what?
Claiming they gave Stephen Durst a ride from that wildlife area after dropping off the Markleys pickup truck there, presumably before it was moved again to the Walmart lot.
Which could connect Stephen directly to the truck being dumped near that potential burial site.
Exactly. It ties into other rumors, too. About a year ago, John Markley's ex-wife, who happens to live in the same town as Stephen Durst now, heard things.
Like what?
Rumors that on the day John and Shelley disappeared, Stephen Durst asked a friend or relative for a ride home because he was unexpectedly stranded somewhere. And supposedly, Stephen was covered in blood and needed help moving the Markleys pickup truck. They allegedly moved it together to that restaurant parking lot where police eventually found it.
So Stephen might have had an accomplice, and that person might be the source of these tips.
It's certainly possible. That friend or family member, if they exist, could be the reliable source who tipped off the FBI in 2005-2006, and maybe the person Deanna was afraid of. But again, it's rumors and hearsay decades later.
It just feels like chasing ghosts sometimes. This landscape, rural Ohio.
It's vast. Lots of places where someone could disappear or be made to disappear. Police really rely on concrete tips to narrow down search areas. The current investigators aren't talking much publicly, but that FOIA denial citing active updates, it suggests they haven't completely given up. They're still working on something.
Nearly 30 years. John and Shelley Markley declared legally dead, but never found. All these theories swirling, family divisions, bizarre clues. Yet the core question just hangs there.
It really does. Where are they? What actually happened on December 15th, 1995?
We've covered so much, the conflicting stories, the police investigation hurdles, the ransom plot, Stephen Durst, the family theories. As you listen to all this, what stands out most to you? Is it a piece of evidence, a missed opportunity, a particular theory it's worth thinking about?
Yeah, what resonates the most or feels the most frustratingly unresolved?
This coming December, it'll be 30 years. 3 decades since John and Shelley vanished. So many people we've talked about in this story are gone now. But someone, somewhere, likely still holds a piece of the puzzle. Even the smallest detail might be the one that finally brings some measure of closure to their 5 children who have waited an incredibly long time.
Absolutely. So if you happen to be in the Warren, Ohio area on December 15th, 1995, and maybe saw that red Chevy Silverado pickup truck, perhaps looking muddy or out of place.
Or if you lived near the Markleys in Bristolville back then and saw anything unusual around their house that day, please reach out.
The number for the Trumbull County Sheriff's Office is 330-675-2540. Even something that seemed insignificant then might be crucial now.